but I'll rob the grave. Death, become my blade once more. Carrying a cross and the hilt's already fading. Leather in my grip, I never miss my swing. River running red from the dead, escaping. Heaven or hell, take the land between. And I bear this weight that I'm under, and no force could tempt a kneel. I bend for honor only, no this seal, it's not real. This shattered will define a spirit burning and honest. My demons paralyzed, terrified. They branded sacrifice, so tarnished early and often. My fury justified. Sealed up my fate and read the embers of scarlet taste. My blade remembers. Temper my crown, yeah. I wield what can't decay. No, feel the fury inside. Try to bury my pride, but I'll rob the grave. My skin to stone, my flesh to honest. This gravity is daunting. The poison breath, the slaughter death cannot infect my conscience. Cause I've been here before. Bloodstains on altar doors. And I wish I was more, but I jail my doubts and errant souls, yeah. This shattered will define a spirit burning and honest. My demons paralyzed, terrified. They branded sacrifice, so tarnished early and often. My fury justified. I decide. Sealed up my fate and read the embers of scarlet taste. My blade remembers. Temper my crown, yeah. I wield what can't decay.
And we are live. Hello to all you BC WrestlePod nerds out there. And welcome back to the Takedown Troupe, your weekly TNA Wrestling review show here on the BC WrestlePod Network Syndicate, the conglomeration podcast and YouTube Twitch entity that we got going on. Will's already ready. He's got the notes in order. He baked it on this desk. It's about to get intense, y'all. I'm just kidding.
I have some thoughts about this.
Oh shit! Oh damn! Will didn't tell me how hot he was going to be coming into this, so it seems like we about to talk some things tonight. And I feel like we're gonna be at odds because I didn't hate this episode in certain parts. But yeah, so we'll talk about that. That includes the review and also the big announcement. They literally gave us 5 matches for Final Resolution already. This is about to be crazy. But it is I, Mikey El Jefe here, and joining me as always is my partner in arms, my lovable friend, Will, also known as Papa Oso around the BC WrestlePod parts. Love him, love it. It's about to get on and popping. But before we get into the review itself, first and foremost, to get all the intro things out of the way, we've got, we pretty much are anywhere and everywhere on the internet. So follow us Facebook, Twitch. We're looking at Blue Sky, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. Download Next Level app to, find all our stuff in one convenient place. It is fantastic. We'd love to see it. And of course, last and certainly not least, we have merch. Check in the link in the description of this video below. And get yourself a t-shirt, a sweater, a long sleeve tee, stickers, mugs. It is fantastic. It's going to be great. Love it. So, coming back from the ROH review, Mr. Robert Brown still rocking with us this late into the evening, representing Lafayette, Indiana. And Robert, I will address this in a little bit on the recent news of a certain Mr. Ryan Nemeth and CM Punk drama that happened when they were in AEW. We'll talk about that towards the tail, and actually we'll just talk about it now. So this is just recent news. So for those of you who are unaware, CM Punk, who is now currently in WWE, was in AEW not too long ago, about over a year ago, if my timeline is correct. And Nick Nemeth's brother, Ryan Nemeth, who was a part of AEW, has filed a complaint and is looking to sue AEW and CM Punk for his mistreatment in there underneath, CM Punk. Now, according to What I Am 5, and we're all going to use the term allegedly because until these are proven as facts in the court of law, we are not going to speculate. But Ryan Nemeth has a suit of some sort, lawsuit, and in the most cases probably either going to be civil, if maybe criminal, it doesn't matter at this point. But reportedly, allegedly, Ryan Nemeth said that CM Punk was not necessarily the best person backstage, and then had a vendetta against Ryan Nemeth, and Ryan Nemeth isn't too happy with AEW because they did not handle the situation properly, and Ryan Nemeth felt like AEW bigwigs didn't make the situation better between him and CM Punk. And then, allegedly they encouraged Ryan Nemeth to cut a scathing promo against CM Punk, which made him not like him anymore, allegedly. So AEW might be in some hot water for allowing this situation to happen. And this is not the first time that AEW has had reports of like the backstage drama of nobody being able to get a hold of the higher ups. Communication to talent isn't great. It is just chaos backstage. Apparently HR is not a thing right now because there always seems to be problems and fights backstage at AEW, which is kind of crazy. So Ryan Nemeth has alleged these complaints against CM Punk and AEW. So when we get more information of the development of the story, we will keep you informed. But yeah, things are getting crazy. Oh, so Robert, you bring up another question. What are our thoughts on Moose winning the X Division title? So we weren't here to review the episode when Mike Bailey lost the title, but we did talk about on Turning Point, our Turning Point review about Moose's title defense against Laredo Kid. I mean, we alleged to this, but because Speedball Mike Bailey is no longer with TNA as his contract is up, and so now he is a free agent. Honestly, I think they put the title on Moose because Mike Bailey is no longer with TNA, and they just needed to put it on someone who's going to carry that championship for a couple months before they figure out new plans of what they want to do with the title. Love Moose, but I think he's just there to hold the title and keep it warm until they figure out new plans, since Bailey is no longer with TNA. So that is my thoughts. Will, do you have any thoughts about the whole situation, or pretty much the same?
I'm pretty much the same. I just, I don't think they should have given it to Moose, but that's just me. I mean, he just held the title. He doesn't need another one right now. And I agree with you. I think they just gave it to him because, he was a title holder, so let's just give it to him. And so he can hold on to it for a little while. But I just, I'm like, he just literally, why?
That is very fair.
Hey,
And
Robert, how you doing?
Robert asked, how you doing tonight?
So, that's my opinion. I mean, that's my view on it. I mean, I think there are other people they could have given it to and made it legitimate. I don't think, the idea of, oh, well, we don't have anybody, so let's just give it to let's just give it to Moose for, and again, though I'm not a big fan of Moose, that character, I mean, it's still kind of a disservice. It's like, here, we're just going to give it to you because, Mike's leaving and we need to give it to somebody. It's like, really? Come on.
Right. Well, Robert, you actually started off of a good talking point, because speaking of X Division, this is what kicks off this week's episode of TNA this week, as we have a number one contenders match. 2, 3, 4. Well, this is a fatal 5-way, if you will. So this is a fatal 5-way X Division number one contenders match. The winner of this match will go to Final Resolution next Friday, the final pay-per-view for TNA in 2024, to face off against Moose for the X Division Championship. And so this match had, honestly, probably a good chunk, pretty much everybody in your X Division right now of TNA, because this was a fatal 5-way that include the likes of JDC, Johnny Dango Curtis, Leon Slater, Ace Austin, Daddy Trent 7, as we call him here, and Kushida. I actually really enjoyed this match, but I figured I would, because you have the 5 representatives of your X Division right here in this. So this was a lot of back and forth. Commentary made sure to put over Ace Austin as him. It seems that now we're going to have Ace Austin be a singles wrestler for a little bit, and then kind of taking him away from the Hardys just for a tiny bit for right now. And of course, shout out to Chris Bay, hoping his recovery is going well. But Ace Austin's looking to be a singles wrestler, and commentary made it his job to put him over and talk about how he's emotional. And, because without his tag team partner, Chris Bay. And then, of course, later in the match, we see Ace Austin hit the Art of Finesse, which is Chris Bay's finisher, which we love. This match was fantastic. Of course, I'm biased. I was rooting for my boy, Leon Slater. Love Leon. But ultimately, it is Kushida who picks up the win with the Fisherman's Buster Cradle and is heading to Final Resolution to face Moose for the X Division Championship. Will, this was our opening bout of the episode. So what did we think of our fatal 5-way number one contenders match?
I really liked this match. I thought it was really good. And I was really kind of excited that Kushida won, because I think that Kushida would be a great X Division champion. I think he's been here. He's been paying his dues. He's been getting his butt kicked a lot. And he's been doing his own butt kicking as well. But I personally think Kushida would be fantastic as the X Division champion. I think he would represent it well. I think he would defend it well, because he's got, and why not? Let's have someone that's non-Western. That's my big thing. It's like, this is a great opportunity, to put Kushida in that and let him go in and take it from Moose, and let Kushida hang on to it. Let him defend it for a while. Let him become. I just think it's due. I think it's time for him. I really do. I just think he's kind of been there, and they've been kind of mixing him with other people. I just think it's time. I think it's, and again, Moose, he had his title. It's time to go. It's like,
right. And Robert agrees with you. Out of all the wrestlers to put the X Division title on, Moose is just not it, in his opinion, at least. And I agree with you. And I think this kind of goes to what I was saying earlier, both to Will's point and to your point, Robert. I think that they put it on Moose because the Moose is reliable, but I think he's just holding on to it until they figure out who they want the person to actually carry the X Division Championship. Now that Speedball is no longer in TNA, right? As of now.
Right.
I still think the match is going to be fantastic, which we'll talk about in a little bit at the end because we got to talk about the 5 matches they announced for Final Resolution so far. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. But again, Kushida picks up the win in this very fun fatal 5-way match to open up this week's episode. From here, we go backstage. Gia Miller, our lovely TNA interviewee, love her to death. Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
She is interviewing Tasha Steelz, who has a match later in the evening against Jordan Grace. And Tasha vows that she's finally going to end things with Jordan because we have a little bit of unresolved history between these two. And she is going to ride through what she calls Pettyville for some sightseeing because she's petty like that. And she's going to make sure that Grace has a permanent residency there so she can no longer get in her way for the TNA Knockouts title anymore. Which, I mean, Tasha's kind of right because every time Tasha gets close to that title, Jordan is always in the way in some capacity. And so she's like, no, it is my time. I love it. So, and again, this is just a prelude to kind of hype up Tasha's match with Jordan later in the evening, which then gets into our second match of the night. This is a tag team match where we have the Good Hands, Jason Hodge and John Schuyler, taking on the makeshift team of, the Death Machines, Sami Callihan, and our personal favorite Frankenstein monster in Mr. PCO. Who is another one I feel like we got to figure out what to do with him since Bound for Glory, we haven't really seen much of him and the Digital Media Championship. But these two are teaming up to take on the Good Hands. As soon as I saw this on paper, I'm like, oh, the Good Hands are about to get wiped. And you know what? They did their best. Bless their hearts, as as my Southern lady friend would say, bless their hearts, because the Good Hands tried.
They did.
They really, really did. But we knew what this was.
Yeah, PCO we knew what was happening here.
PCO and Sami Callihan pick up the win. Will, what are your thoughts about this?
I mean, I'm the same. I mean, the minute they were all, I was like, we know where this is going. I was like, okay. But I will have to say, I will also say that I think that we do, because we haven't had a digital media challenge in a while
since Bound for Glory. Yeah, because the last
what I thought.
Bound for Glory was the last time we saw PCO defend his championship. And since then, we really haven't. He hasn't defended that thing, or we haven't really even seen him much on TNA television either.
Has he been? Has he been out, or has he been? Do you know? I mean, I don't know. I was just curious as to why.
I think
we haven't seen him.
No, I think, and if I remember correctly, because Gia Miller always gives the medical reports after the pay-per-views, like on social media. I think medical were checking on PCO to make sure because he was a little bit, hurt, or they were looking to see the extent of how hurt he was after his match against Matt Cardona in that Monsters Ball match at Bound for Glory. And so that probably would explain why he wasn't on television for a little bit. But I am glad he is back here.
Yes.
And it seems him and Sami are probably going to be a team for now until we go to what's next for PCO.
Right. Okay. I was just curious because, I was like, I haven't seen him in a while.
Yeah.
But I think it's time we have a challenge to digital media, though. I mean,
right.
Honestly.
Have somebody come up next to challenge PCO for the title.
Yep.
So I agree with you. Like I said, PCO and Sami pick up the win here. And then we get a very interesting thing. The lights go out and we see good graphics flash and we get the number 23 on there. And I'm just sitting here. I'm like, either this is going to be a return or somebody new is coming in. And if I'm correct, I think I don't know if the number, we have to see if the number is going to change, but I'm wondering, I'm like 23. Again, I didn't do the math, but I'm like 23. I wonder if that's how many days until Genesis. I mean, I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. But this 23 is mysterious. It's showing the number 23 with all these graphics. Lights go out. Sammy and PCO are in the ring when all this goes down. So somebody is coming through. It's going to be interesting. And I'm like, you have me intrigued, TNA. And this will not be the last time we hear of 23 because Detective Sammy Callahan is on the case later in the evening. So, look, I'm all for new people being signed to TNA or coming to TNA, especially since we're about to lose Jordan and Josh come, January and February of 2025 because their contracts are expiring. So I'm all here for people getting added to TNA, especially because, Will and myself will be at TNA pay-per-views this upcoming year. Just saying. Will is luckier because he still gets to see amazing people. And I'm not sure who we're getting for Rebellion come April because lots of people are going to be gone. Though I will get to see Masha, so I'm not going to complain.
Fair.
Masha is my girl. Love her. Anyways, so we go backstage. Our TNA World Champion, Nick Nemeth, is about to cut a promo. And he tries. But then he is interrupted by First Class, our favorite peoples here in TNA. Mr. Casey Navarro and AJ Francis, Will's personal favorite. So this was a really weird exchange, but the summarized version of this is Francis says he's looking to be 10 pounds heavier by taking the TNA World title from Nick Nemeth. Nick says that he is game for a challenge anytime, anywhere, accepts AJ's challenge. And then as they are arguing, one of our other favorite peoples for real this time, Mr. Deputy of Authority, Santino Marella, comes in. And, after AJ kind of coaxes his way in, Santino makes the match official. So it's going to be Nick Nemeth defending his TNA World Championship against AJ Francis at Final Resolution. Will is so ecstatic. You could totally tell. Nah, for real. Will, is this where the first bullet point on your list comes in for the night? All right. I have said my summary of this. I'm going to let Will just take the reins for a little bit, and then I'll give my concluding thoughts about this. So, Will, this is round one of your bullet point list. Tell me, what's got your goat on this segment?
Well, I am not a fan of AJ Francis at all. And I think that, and by no means am I saying that he does not have a right to challenge Nick. He absolutely does. I just am tired of AJ Francis. And not in that way, not like because I hate the characters, I'm supposed to hate him. But in the fact that if you're going to do something with him, do something with him. Like right now, he's just floundered. He should actually take and hold on to the digital media, I think. Like, I really do. I mean, I think it'd be a great place for him because he's so social networking. He's so, that sort of influencing type thing, that sort of social media type thing. So I think, if you were going to put somebody, even though I can't stand him, I think he'd be perfect as the digital media champion. And so I'm just like, but I mean, challenge. And I think, and this is the thing that irritates me, is I think that the fight between him and Nick is going to be a blow off fight. And I'm like, and I'm tired of blow off fights. I want, if you're going to do a championship match, then you need to put challengers in there that are truly going to challenge your champion. I don't think AJ Francis is a danger to Nick Nemeth. I really don't. Just because he's a big dude doesn't mean anything. The bigger they are, the harder they fall. So I don't think that. I mean, now unless they pull shenanigans, which then I'll be really pissed because I'm like, pull shenanigans elsewhere, but when it comes to championship title matches, shenanigans get under my skin. They just do. And so I'm just like, really? And it's also, it feels like my other beef with it is it feels like they're trying to force AJ Francis into a position of importance by putting him up against the champion. Like they're trying to make him relevant. And I'm like, this is not the place to do that. I think that, like, again, like I said, if you want to make him relevant, have him challenge PCO for the digital title or the digital media title. Have him take it from him in some big, like, no holds barred monster thing, and he actually defeats the monster. That, to me, would be way better than this, what's going to happen with him and Nick. Because there's no way AJ Francis is going to take that title. There's no way. Because first of all, that's not, again, it's character, not wrestler. That is not who you want representing TNA. I mean, as a character, it's just not. So, I mean, I think it would be a PR nightmare if they did go that route. But I think that, again, go for the digital social media challenge. Go for that title. Take it, make it your own, kind of like Nomar did, when Nomar had it. Or was it Nomar? Not Nomar. I'm sorry. I'm in the wrong place. Who had it before PCO had it?
So before PCO, I believe it was Crazy Steve.
It's Crazy Steve. That's it. And I was like, I knew it was someone wild. And I think I think AJ Francis,
our favorite.
Yeah, I love Crazy Steve. I think that AJ Francis could make something of that, and because it needs to be something again, because it's kind of lost it's kind of it's sort of like a table decoration right now.
I think it's really got hurt. At least PCO having the title. I think because with Steph getting hurt, I think it threw a lot of wrenches into what we were doing with it. And then of course we still ended up getting our Monsters Ball match with Matt Cardona, but we had to move so many things around. After, because we were supposed to get that tag team match with Matt and Steph versus PCO and Rhino, I believe.
Yeah, I think so.
But it didn't happen because Steph came out. She announced that she has to have neck surgery, so that took her off the playing field. Then we had to figure out a way how to get this Monsters Ball match going. So I actually agree with you, Will. I think AJ Francis being digital media champion would be fantastic. And I think him and Casey Navarro could do some really fun stuff with that, especially.
I mean, the title needs to be something again, because it was at first. For a while there, it was a belt that everybody wanted. And now it's like, literally, it's like it just hangs on PCO's arm. I'm like, and we don't even mention it. It's not even like, oh, PCO, the digital media champion. No, we don't even mention it anymore. It's literally, he walks out with those two belts on his arms, and we don't even acknowledge them.
I know, it's really weird. And to kind of echo what Andrew has said in previous reviews with us too, is that let the digital media championship be like the one where you have the stipulations for it. Because within the last 3 title reigns, listen, we all know that the Tommy Dreamer title reign was not fun. We all agree with that. When Tommy Dreamer had that title, we didn't like him as champion, but at least we still got some stipulations between him and Crazy Steve. We had the street fight at Rebellion, in which Crazy Steve won it. And then Crazy Steve was stabbing people with forks. We had a Monsters Ball match. I feel like the digital media championship needs to have those crazy stipulations where it has to be these. I don't want to say make it a hardcore championship, but make it a hardcore championship.
Yeah, but that's hardcore light. It needs to have, because right now it doesn't have any substance to it. And it needs to be something that is, one, challenging to win. It's not an easy title to win, because right now it's so easy. It's like, oh, here, I just took it from you. Oh, here, I just took it from you. It needs to not be an easy title, because right now it's just a throwaway. It's like I said, we don't even mention it anymore. I don't even remember the last time they actually mentioned the digital media title, like in like in a good way, you know. And I agree. I think it should all be stipulations. I think every time that someone challenges, it's in like a spin the wheel type thing. It's like, what kind of crazy crap are we going to do this time around? You
For
know,
reals.
and I think that would be fantastic. And I'd be okay if it like switched hands like for a little while, like people just winning it, losing it, winning it, losing it, winning it, losing it, until someone finally comes in and like takes it and claims it and like says this is mine and no one can have it, king of the mountain type, you know, and just defeats people left and right. I think that would be neat. You know, I just right now it has no teeth. It has no teeth whatsoever.
It does not. And then all to say, because what started this whole conversation is we are getting Nick versus AJ Francis at Final Resolution. We'll talk more about that when we get to the end and talk about the 5 matches we have so far. But speaking of championships, we get our next match. This is for the TNA World Tag Team Championships, and this is our champions, the Hardys. So Matt and Jeff Hardy defending their titles against the System yet again. I'm honestly, Will, and this is my conspiracy theory. I think ABC was probably supposed to be the next challengers for the titles, but since Chris Bay is hurt, we pivoted back to the System, which, you know, is a safe plan. And I'm not necessarily mad at, because, you know, we had to make changes because what happened to Chris Bay was unfortunate. I'm just hoping that the System does not get them back. We'll talk about that later. But this was a tag team championship match. This crowd was so easy. They were so behind the Hardys, and they were booing the System out of the building, which I was like, this is exactly how it's supposed to go. And honestly, Matt and Jeff did a good job of harnessing the crowd's energy, because they looked like they were rejuvenated and they had energy.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, this match is actually kind of fun. Of course, we had the regular shenanigans of the System and all of this. And then we get to the crescendo of this match, in which there is a disqualification caused by Alicia Edwards by hitting Jeff Hardy with the kendo stick. I'm like, why is she out here? No. I was so mad.
I think honestly, I think you're right though. I think it's because I think ABC was supposed to be the challengers. So instead, and I honestly believe this, and which is so funny, as I honestly believe they would rather disqualify the System than have them get beaten again.
That's very true.
And,
so
you know,
I'm kind of here for if Alicia decides to start calling the shots and take over Moose's leadership position. That'd be kind of hilarious. But Alicia does cause the DQ by attacking Jeff Hardy with the kendo stick to end the match. And then we see the System lay out both Matt and Jeff by hitting an assisted crucifix powerbomb through a table with Jeff. They use Jeff to break the table with Matt on it. So they throw Jeff through Matt through the table. And this whole shenanigans is causing the whole entire arena to boo to high heaven. The System are standing tall by the end of the segment. And I was just like, I'm sure this is not going to be the end of this. And we didn't even have to wait like even less than 5 minutes. We'll talk about what happens. But before we get to that, Will, any additional thoughts about the championship match we got? Disqualification. What are your thoughts?
No, I mean, I thought the Hardys were on point, man. I mean, they are, you know, drinking the blood of the innocent or something. I don't know what they're doing, but they were like, they looked younger. They moved like they were younger. I either that or they're vampires or something. I don't know, but they were doing stuff
with the lich.
I know, right? I mean, they were doing stuff with ease that they were doing in previous episodes with some difficulty. So I don't know. Maybe it's just everyone's hatred for the System. Maybe that's what it does. I don't know. I mean, you know, honestly, they're like, "Oh, we're fighting the System."
I mean, they make the System makes it easy to hate them, which is a good thing.
It really does, which is great. And I love, you know, I want to clear some air. I love Eddie Edwards. I think he's a fantastic wrestler. And I know that he's a decent, honest to God, decent human being in like real life, you know, and, you know, but man, he makes it so easy to hate him. And I love it. I love that he can make me hate him.
His
so
wife
easily.
Alicia also is easy
Mhm.
too. They do a great
Oh,
job of making you hate
They
them.
do.
Even Brian Myers, I was like, yeah, all of you are trash, but I love you're like trash. They're easy to hate, but I love you as individuals because you're good
Yeah.
folks.
Yeah. So I really enjoyed the match. I mean, I thought, in the Alicia Edwards thing, the disqualification, it was no surprise. I mean, it really
Right.
wasn't. Anytime the system fights, especially if Eddie's involved, we know Alicia's going to come out of the shadows somewhere with a kendo stick or something. I mean, we know it, and I was waiting for it. I was like, why? And I agree with you. It's like, why don't they ban her from the ringside?
This
I
is
don't.
not the first time she's hit people with the kendo stick. Like,
Mhm. So I
oh
mean,
my
yeah, I
goodness.
really enjoyed it. I thought the Hardys were doing great, and then they got their butts handed to them at the end.
That looked brutal when they threw
It
Matt
did.
when they threw Jeff through Matt through the table. That was
Yeah.
a series
I was
of
like,
unfortunate
dang.
events. Snow lemony snicket, if you will.
No, I agree.
So, oh my goodness. So after this, we get a pre-taped vignette / promo from Spitfire. So Jody Threat and Danny Luna are talking about the
Yeah.
elegances, the House of Elegance, if you will. And they said that they're not going to tolerate the antics of Ash by Elegance, Heather by Elegance, and their little chihuahua, which is their concierge, George Iceman. And so they're going to put a stop to that next week, which is going to see Jody Threat take on Heather by Elegance in a singles match. And I'm sitting here and I'm just like, we got to be building towards a tag team match or those championships between Spitfire and the House of Elegance is what I'm going to call them for now. So listen, my little biconic heart melted. I love me a woman with an accent. Danny Luna, you can bench press me all you want. Call me, hey, love you. Oh, you're so beautiful. I love you. And Jody Thread, you are also growing on me too. You become one of my favorites in 2024. I love you so much. And honestly, I'm excited for Jody versus Fantastic. The wrestling gods did not appreciate that.
Apparently not. Oh no, are you still there? Are you frozen?
No, I know.
Okay.
The system found. No, I'm still here. The system found me, you guys. Oh,
they're coming for you.
Be like, no. Anyways, I'm still here. The system can't take me down. Overthrow the patriarchy. Oh, wrong show. Anyways, so after this little vignette, and I believe this is where I'm thinking this is the part where you send me that specific text or that message, Will, about Santino coming out. So after our vignette from Spitfire, Daddy Santino Marella appears on the ramp. This is minutes after we witnessed the end of the tag team championship match. And Santino said what happened was a disgrace. So he makes a match for the tag team championships. It will be the Hardys defending the titles once again against the system, this time in a tables match at Final Resolution. So for anybody who is unaware, a tables match is in order for you to win, you have to put your opponent through the table first. So I'm wondering if that means you have to put both members through the table or one member of a team has to go through the table. Cause I'm like,
you know what I think is going to happen, right? You already know. I think the Hardys are going to do to them what they did to them.
Yep.
I really
think they're going to get their just desserts and they're going to get even. And I'm here for revenge.
Yep. Me too. I'm all for the revenge. Vengeance shall be ours.
Or even crazier, they put Brian and Eddie on the table and they use Alicia Edwards to
throw
her through both of them. TNA is kind of down with the mixed tag team intergender stuff of the best. So I would love to see them.
Me too.
That'd be hilarious. And I feel like Alicia would be down to do that too, anyways.
Oh, I think so too. Yeah.
So this is the third match that gets made for Final Resolution. We'll talk about that more in depth. So now, after this, we go backstage where we have Sammy Callahan and PCO walking through the hallways, and then they confront Detective Sammy Callahan is on the case because him and his Watson-esque sidekick PCO walk up to, Team Hammer something, as Andrew is calling them for now, which I love, and has a lot
me
of
too.
innuendos.
Yeah, because this is because Hammerstone is the one that said Daddy Santino.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh.
Will's like, something has changed
I was like,
within me.
seriously. I was just like, and it was it was how Hammerstone said it. I was just like, wait, when did you become like super hot? I was like, I just don't know. And,
Oh no, what happened? I clicked the thing. There we go.
oh, okay. I was like, I'm sorry. Did I say something?
You're like,
But
you
no.
have been banned. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right. Like, oh, sorry, guys. No, I was just like, oh, I mean, because Hammerstone, he's not my type, by the way. And I mean, Jake is, but Hammerstone's not. But now I'm kind of like, ooh, Hammerstone. He said Daddy Santino, and I was just like, oh my goodness.
Again, something has changed within me.
Oh yeah. I was like,
Listen,
ooh.
I am not ashamed. I am going to be pulling out wicked references when I can.
That's fair. I haven't
Anyways.
seen the movie yet.
Oh, you need to. It's so much
I
fun.
am. I'm going to. I'm probably going to see it this weekend.
I was like, you are a gay man. How dare you? No, just kidding. It's like, how dare you? I'm just kidding. You call yourself a theater person.
Hey, I have read the book and I have seen the Broadway musical.
Okay.
So
okay, you
I just haven't seen the movie yet.
You get your musical gay card back now.
Fair.
But back to all of this. So
back to wrestling.
Yes. We'll talk offline because I'm looking at Hammerstone. I'm like,
yeah,
do I? Anyways, but Detective Sammy Callahan and Watson PTO over here are asking Team Hammer something if they are responsible and the ones behind the 23 vignettes. Hammerstone is like, what are you talking about? You are crazy. But you know what? Something that we're not, worried about is that we're up for, something we're not going to say no to is a fight. So let me go talk to Daddy Santino, and we get a match between Sammy Callahan and PCO versus Team Hammer something next week. So this is going to be interesting. So from here, we then get into our semi-main event of this week's episode of TNA, and this is our knockout match of the episode. So this is our only knockout match this episode, but was it a fun one? This is Jordynne Grace versus Tasha Steelz. This was, again, I thought this match was a lot of fun. I love Tasha Steelz. I think she is going to be a key player in this knockouts division come 2025, especially when Jordynne Grace leaves. So I think they're going to need to start building up, women for their knockouts division. And even though there was some shenanigans from Miss Alicia Edwards, yes, Robert, you are now officially a homie of the channel. We've gone from friend to homie. But anyways, Robert, you are such a cool dude. Thank you so much for always tuning into our shows and being super supportive of what we do. You are a friend to the channel in my mind now. Love you to death. Thank you so much. But again, I thought this was a really fun match. And even though we had some outside interference from Miss Alicia Edwards, I'm not surprised about the outcome. But, of course, we have Tasha Steelz picking up the victory here after a little bit of a distraction. And with a rope-assisted backslide, Tasha Steelz beats Jordynne Grace. Before we talk about everything that happens afterwards, Will, what did you think of Jordynne versus Tasha?
I thought it was a sham. That's what I thought.
Uh-oh, here we go. Bullet point number 2.
Now, I love Tasha Steelz. I do. Do I honestly believe that she could defeat Jordynne Grace? No. Not at the moment. I thought, and also I feel that this loss for Jordynne is too early. Even though it's not a championship loss, it's still a loss, and she just came off of losing her championship, basically. I just think it's too soon. I just thought it was way too soon, especially Natasha Steeles, who I love, by the way, and would eventually love to see her down the road take the title from Masha. But after Masha's had it for a while, of course, because I don't want Masha to give it up at all at this point. But I was just, and then, and again with the shenanigans, you know, they were really using Alicia Edwards like crazy in this episode. I'm just like, why? Because see, to me, it's just again, and I know they're like, hey, I won, and I'm like, yeah, but you really didn't. You know, you only won because Alicia distracted Jordan. So I know a win's a win, but it's a hollow win. I mean, you didn't win it on your own, Tasha. I mean, you didn't earn it. You didn't earn the win. That was my big issue. That was my biggest issue. Especially, when, and I guess it's just because I love the knockout so much that I hate when shenanigans happen in the knockouts. Like, it drives me crazy because it's like, oh, women can't win a title without screwing each other over, basically. And it drives me insane. And now if it was just a fun match, like a ha match, yeah, shenanigans out the ass, guys. But this was like two badasses going against each other. And it's just making Jordan look weak. And she's not weak. And I mean, girl had a bloody nose at the end of this. I mean, she is taking it. So she is not weak. And I hate that they're kind of making her look that way. And I don't know I don't know what that is, but I would think that you'd want her to look stronger after she lost. And, I don't know, maybe they're tearing her up to build her back up. I don't know what they're doing, but I mean, because her contract's coming to an end soon, right?
I believe, if I'm correct, her contract is up in sometime in January, and then Josh Alexander's is up in February. So Jordan will probably be leaving first, and then Josh will be after her. But yeah, so Jordan's out. Jordan's contract with TNA is coming up quickly, right, in terms of her contract being up. So, of course, what I think is going to happen is that Jordan, like we've seen other TNA wrestlers who leave TNA, they always leave putting someone over. So I don't mind Jordan probably putting over Tasha, especially since Jordan has already put over Masha by her loss to Masha at Bound for Glory and then the loss at Turning Point. See, okay, so I'm in the middle with this because on the one hand, I agree with you, especially when it comes to the Knockouts division, because we love them oh so much here at Takedown Troupe. I think it doesn't help that Jordan is losing in this kind of fashion. And for me, Tasha winning, it makes sense because she is the Boricua badass, so she'll do whatever it takes to win, even if it means doing a little cheating due to a distraction or whatever. But I agree with you in a sense that Jordan looking weak kind of in this thing doesn't necessarily help. But at the same time, though, I mean, there's probably other ways you can go about doing it, but at the same time, I'm not as mad at this because of the fact that Jordan is going to be leaving very shortly. And, if she's going to put over Tasha, I'm okay with this. I'm kind of in the middle with this because I've watched wrestling long enough where I see where you're coming from, Will, but I also see I don't think it's too bad. Now, if we continue to see Jordan lose, then I think I will change my mind and have a bigger issue with it. But because Jordynne Grace has been so dominant since winning the title back from Trinity and basically pretty much winning every single match, whether it be a championship or non-title defense since January's Hard to Kill, I think her losing is okay, but I do agree that maybe the methodology can be a little bit different. But I don't think Jordan losing is necessarily a bad thing. But I agree with you that we need to do better with the execution of how she loses in order to put over somebody while also not having Jordan look aloof is the nicest way I'm going to put it, because I'm like, girl, you could have ignored Alicia if we're being so for real about it. But it's wrestling. there are certain things that happen and we suspend our disbelief. We're watching men and women and non-binary folks wrestle, so we love them to death. But
yeah, I don't know.
Andrew, Masha better not lose that title anytime soon. I
agreed.
I agree with you, Andrew, and I'm gonna be completely honest. For me, depending on what happens over the next couple of months, I think we're gonna see Masha hold for certain. She's holding it. She's not. When we talk about Final Resolution, she's holding it past Final Resolution. I think if they're going to have Masha trade the title to somebody, depending on who it is, the earliest I could see her losing the title isn't until Rebellion in April. I think because that's a couple of months in her title reign that she could possibly lose it. But selfishly, I just want Masha to hold that title so that way I can see her defended at Rebellion in Los Angeles. That's just me, but I agree with you, Andrew. By the way, we miss you and love you. It's like that meme. I miss you and I love you.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry to cut you over in your whole bullet point list, Will. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Well, no, it's not, and again, it's not that I don't think Tasha should win, because I think she should. I just think if she's going to win, and I don't care if she is this, badass, whatever, and she'll do whatever it means. It's like when you, and this is a theater thing. It's just a theater thing. When you choose the easy way is not always the best way. It's not always the correct way, and for the bad guys, it's, bad guys, the heels or whatever, I'm going to win by shenanigans. It's like the obvious choice. And it's so, to me, as a fan watching, it's a hollow victory. So I can't get behind it because I'm like, Tasha Steelz, I know you're badass. So win, don't rely on, Alicia Edwards and her kendo stick bullshit. Win the damn match on your own. That's my big thing. Jordan, she should beat Jordan. And I'm not saying that Jordan shouldn't be beat. She should, because she's not, unstoppable. But again, it irritates the crap out of me. And this is just me, a man speaking about women. So take it with a grain of salt, that the women have to resort to shenanigans in order to win. And that bugs me, because Tasha Steelz is talented. She's good at what she does. She's got the attitude. She's got the winner. She's got that champion persona. Then go in there and beat Jordan Grace fair and square. Like, show her that you can actually beat her without distractions. And I'm sorry, if it were me and I was Tasha Steelz, first of all, I'd look amazing. But second of all, when Alicia came in, I would have popped her in her face and go, "This is my fight." And then I would have gone back to Jordan Grace. That, to me, right there, I would have been like, hell yes. But because it was like, to me, it just felt cheap. That's it. That's all. And I'm not even all that really broken up that Jordan lost, because again, she needs to lose. It just felt cheap. That's it. That's really where my beef is. It just felt like a cheap win. And I'm just like, and that's fun sometimes, but when you're, she's a former champion. It shouldn't be a cheap win. It should be work. You should have to work to beat a former champion.
Right.
So anyway, that's my bullet points, and I'm done.
Oh, my little heart is so happy. Look at you coming back to wrestling, and now fast forward to a year and a half later. I love your analysis. They're so fun.
Well, thanks. I try.
No, you have, and again, we'll talk offline, but if y'all watching us out there, Will's story of, how he got into wrestling and then coming back to it now, like, is such a fun tale for sure. I love it. I was like, look how far you've come. I'm so proud of you. Oh my goodness. Alrighty. So I've been saving the majority of the talking points for this next thing because this was our main event of the evening. This was an 8-man tag team match. First and foremost, we had Joe Hendry on commentary for this whole entire thing. So this was a lot of fun to listen to. I was like him in his Scottish accent. Love it so much. And of course, him in his velvety blue shirt as well. But this was an 8-man tag team match. And this saw the team of the Northern Armory, which is Josh Alexander, along with Sinner and Saint, teaming up with the king of TNA, Frankie Kazarian, taking on the what I think is a stacked team of Steve Macklin, Eric Young, Jonathan Gresham, and Mike Santana. I don't know about you, Will, but hands down, this was my match of the night.
It was mine too.
So
there
was a lot that happened.
There was. I'll let you talk first, though.
Okay, so we'll briefly talk about the match. So this was an 8-man tag with the Northern Armory and Frankie Kazarian going up against Macklin, Eric Young, Jonathan Gresham, and Mike Santana. Everybody did an amazing job. I think everyone got a moment to shine. Sinner and Saint look really great in this match. It was nice to see them actually get to showcase more of their tag team tandem, which was really nice to see. Josh Alexander is so good. Macklin, everybody was so good. There was like not a single point where I thought somebody was not pulling their weight. And again, we talked about this. Hate the midlife crisis character that Frankie Kazarian is going with right now. His in-ring is phenomenal. This match was fantastic. Let's talk about how this ending happened because it was full of shenanigans. It was crazy. Frankie Kazarian ends up using his Call Your Shot Gauntlet trophy as a weapon. And you know what? We love the face team, but unfortunately tonight, the Northern Armory and Frankie Kazarian pick up the victory here. Just complete chaos at the end for the show. I love this match. Frankie Kazarian getting involved, hitting people with trophies is crazy out here. It's like, what did I just walk into? This was fun. Will, this was our main event. What did you think of the match? And then what did you think of all the shenanigans at the end?
Sorry, give me 1 second. Something is going on with my computer. Hold on. Sorry. Oh, here we go. Okay. I like the screen went blank and I was like, I can't see anything. Oh God.
Oh no, you can't see my beautiful face anymore.
Yeah, I can see it. I can see it now.
Okay.
So this was a great match. I thought, and the outcome was what I was expecting. I'm glad that Gresham's the one that got pinned. Because I would have been upset if, Young could have been pinned as well, but I was worried that they were going to pin Macklin.
Gresham. See, if Macklin got pinned, I would have been like, no.
Yeah.
I would have been mad if Macklin got pinned, but because I'm also biased too, I think I would have gotten pissed if Mike Santana got pinned.
Yeah, I agree with that one because that's the two. I was like, I'm either Macklin or Santana. I was okay with Gresham getting pinned, and I was like, okay, that's fine. And I would have been fine if like Young had been pinned, but I was like new to Santana and Macklin. So, but I was okay with the outcome. I mean, I hate that the Northern Armory won, but especially with Frankie Kazarian. But it was what I was expecting. So the outcome didn't surprise me. I was just curious as to who was going to get pinned. So that was my whole thing through this. I was like, oh God. Because there was that one time I thought for sure they were going to pin Santana, and I was going to be so pissed. I was going to be so pissed. But they didn't. So I was like, hallelujah. And I agree. I think that Sinner and Saint, is that their names? Sinner and Saint?
Yep.
I thought they did great. I'm still getting used to them, and I think it's because they're in Alexander's shadow all the
Mm-hmm.
time, so it's hard to see past him. And so when they're wrestling, they were great individually. When they were wrestling, it was great, but anytime Alexander was anywhere near, I lost them. I mean, whether they were the ones wrestling or not, I was always focusing on Alexander. Um, so I think they need to work on that a bit. I think that needs to be I don't know, because I don't necessarily think I mean, I understand who they are. They're his minions, but I don't think you want to lose them because right now I think they get lost because, he walks in and everyone's focused on him. No one's even looking at the other two. So I'm curious to see what happens when Alexander's contract is up. So I'm wondering if they're going to turn them into like a legitimate tag team.
Right, which I hope that's the case because
Yeah.
I'm never going to say no to more tag teams
Oh yeah.
in TNA. Both the men and the women's are kind of needing it since
Yeah.
we've lost a couple of players due to injury and other things. So, I mean, that does bring us to the end of the actual episode. I actually really enjoyed this.
Yeah.
But we're gonna spend a little bit of time talking about Final Resolution in a little bit. But my papa also, how many empanadas do you give this week's TNA?
I actually gave this a 7.5, close to an 8. Between 7.5 and 8. I thought it was a pretty decent episode. I didn't lose any interest in it. I didn't think any of the matches were bad. I don't think they were necessarily like woo, but I mean they weren't bad. I thought the episode overall was pretty entertaining. So I was like, okay, yeah. Like I said, the fights were all good. I didn't have really any issues with the episode. I mean, it's pretty standard. It was a pretty standard sort of weekly episode. Um, but I think next week's is go home show, right?
Yes, and unfortunately, we don't have a review because I have somewhere else to be, which I'll tell Will, and which sucks because I'm like, we're back. Oh, we can't have a review next week. Oops.
And what day is the review on?
So the go home show would normally be next Friday, the 13th, but we're not going to have a TNA review because also that night on the 13th is Final Resolution, and Final Resolution's review will be Thursday because Andrew can't do Sunday but he can do Thursday. And when the three of us talked, we figured that Thursday the 19th would work out. So we could talk more afterwards.
Okay. Yeah, because the 13th wouldn't work for me anyway because I have graduation that night.
Well, it's a good thing we moved it to the 19th. That works out for me. I did not know that. But again, we'll talk afterwards. I agree with you. I also give this like a 7.5, close to 8. I thought this was a solid episode. I definitely am happy that we have regular episodes, and this is definitely miles and above better than the end of last year in December for TNA when it was nothing but clip shows. I was like, what is? Oh man, those were the dark ages for TNA for a whole month. It was nothing but clip shows. I was like,
Yeah,
oh no,
I remember
what
that.
are we doing? I'm just so happy we have regular episodes now. So yeah, I agree with you. Alrighty, so let's spend a couple of minutes. So literally like a bat out of hell, shooting things out of a cannon, if you will. As soon as the episode aired, TNA dropped on their social media. It's like, we have some matches announced for Final Resolution. I'm like, oh, okay, it makes sense. We got like 3 made on this show, so we're going to talk about. No. They dropped a whole lot. They're like, let's make the social media game crazy. So, I mean, there could be more, but TNA dropped not 1, not 2, but 5 matches that are currently slated for Final Resolution next Friday. We have 4 championship matches, and then we're going to talk and one not and number 1 contenders match. So, let's just talk a little bit about all these matches that got dropped first. So we're going to start with our X Division Championship. This is Moose defending the title against Kushida. My little heart wants Kushida to win. I think the match is going to be really great. I think it's going to be fantastic. I don't think Moose is losing, though.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Unfortunately. I mean, like I said, I'd love to see Kushida take it and like run with it. I think it'd be great.
I 100% agree.
But I agree. I think they're going to have him hold on. I think they're going to have Moose hold on to it for a while.
Yeah, until they figure out who they want. Yeah. I'm still team Leon Slater.
Well, that's true as well. You know, I'm here for him as well. You know, or even him taking the digital media. You know, I mean, I agree. I love Leon Slater. I think he's fantastic. And I think they need to do more with him.
I know. I hope so. But we'll see. Again, I still think Moose versus Kushida is going to be fun, but I don't think Moose is losing it. So then let's talk about our tag team championships being defended in a tables match, the Hardys versus the System. Again, I hold on to the belief that ABC was going to be the next challengers for the Hardys and feud with them for a little bit. But because of Chris Bay's injury, we have to go through the System one more time. I agree with you what you said earlier. I have the Hardys winning this, and I think the way they win this match is similar to how they got thrown through the tables on this episode of TNA. That'd be so good. I'm still here for Alicia also being used as the catalyst to go through Eddie and Brian through the table.
Yeah, me too. I'm
fantastic. But I have the Hardys retaining. I don't think they're losing these titles anytime soon.
I agree.
So
they've got too much momentum right now.
Well, and we also got the announcement too that they both re-signed to a TNA too. So it's like,
true.
Well, they're not leaving anytime soon anyway, so I'm cool with it.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of figured this next match was going to be made, but they made it official. We have a TNA Knockouts World Championship, so Masha's defending the title against Tasha. Again, we talked about how Tasha won the match against Jordan, and me and Will kind of are split on it. But for the most part, we agree when it comes to not necessarily the funnest win for Tasha and not making Jordan look weak is not cool. But I still think this match is going to be fun.
Mm-hmm.
I love you, Tasha. You don't stand a chance, girl. No. Masha's going to retain this championship.
Floor. Yeah.
But I still think this match is going to be great, though.
I think it's going to be awesome. I think it's going to be like, I personally think it needs to be the main event, but you know me. I always think it should be in the main event.
Well, for the most part, we probably know that the main event is what we're going to talk about next, which is our TNA World Championship, which is Nick Nemeth versus AJ Francis. Yeah, if Nick loses, we riot.
No way Nick is losing to AJ Francis. I'm sorry. There's no way.
No. Nick better not lose to AJ. Now, if Nick loses to like a Casey Navarro, I have questions, but I wouldn't be as mad. If Nick loses to AJ, I'm gonna look at TNA weird for the next couple of weeks. I'm like, you better fix this at Genesis. Like,
yeah.
No, so I don't. Yeah, I see Nick retaining here. I don't see him losing this championship to AJ of all people. No shade, but like, yeah, if Nick loses, we riot.
Yeah.
But let me talk. Let's finish this off because I want to talk to you about my most anticipated match. And I'm just like, I melted, I creamed, I cried. Like, I needed towels afterwards because we're getting a Fatal 4-Way. And this is a number 1 contenders match. The winner is going to go on to Genesis to fight for the TNA World Championship. So it's going to be Nick versus whoever wins this Fatal 4-Way. Let me just run down the 4 people that are in this Fatal 4-Way. And I am okay with any of these 4 winning, to be honest. So this Fatal 4-Way, this number 1 contenders match to see who gets to face Nick Nemeth at Genesis in January. The 4 participants in this match are Joe Hendry versus Josh Alexander versus Steve Macklin, and I cried tears of joy versus Mike motherfucking Santana. I'm like, oh my God, Mike Santana is finally in a championship picture of some sorts and has a chance to earn an opportunity. Honestly, I am torn because honestly, I am okay with any of these four. They picked the right four to have this match, in my personal opinion. Like, and I am okay with any of these four. If I had to narrow it down, gun to my head, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think Josh is going to win, and I think this is going to be Josh's like last road before his contract expires. Though, if I'm being honest, it should really be Macklin too, because I think Macklin would be fun versus. You know what? I'm conflicted. Fuck it. I don't have a pick right now. I can't choose right now because honestly, I can make an argument for any of these four to be the winner, but at the same time, I really don't care who wins because they're all are going to bring it to Nick, and that's going to be an amazing match. They picked the right four for this one, Will.
I agree. This is a hard one. I don't have a pick either. I mean, I know who I would like to win it, which would be Joe, but that's just because I love Joe and I think he deserves it. But I also think Santana. I mean, yeah. See, it's just
these four have had an incredible 2024 in TNA.
They have, but honestly and truly, I don't think Josh is going to win.
That's fair.
I really don't, because one, he's already had his shot at it. He's already had, I mean, he has been the king of the road already. So I don't necessarily think Josh is going to win it. And I honestly believe it's going to come down to Joe and Mike.
You know what? I think so too. Because I think Josh and Steve are going to have one more match as Josh's final big match in TNA before he goes to free agency. So I agree with you.
Because don't they have one more?
I mean, technically, they've done two because they did the Bound for Glory match, which Josh won. Turning Point have Macklin won in the no DQ match. So I would not be surprised if we get one more, like Josh versus Macklin at Genesis or something.
Oh my God, please God, let that be the case.
I am praying to the wrestling gods that Will gets an incredible card for Genesis.
Oh my God. I know.
Because
I'm so excited.
I listen, the reason I say I'm praying to the wrestling gods is because I said this earlier in the week and I said it the week before, but it's been made official now. Will is officially, because of where TNA Genesis in January is going to be held, Will actually gets to go to this pay-per-view because he is within the state, within the area in a reasonable amount of time from where it's being taking place. And so Will gets to go to TNA Genesis, but he is not traveling alone. That is the more interesting part of this story. And I cannot wait for the stories afterwards.
Yeah, we've already got tickets and everything. I think we're fourth row from the ring on the left side of the ramp, the entrance ramp.
Me and Andrew are just going to be on the lookout for you.
Yeah, I'll be there. I'll have my Joe Hendry shirt on.
Yes, we love it. I cannot wait. So honestly, back to what we were talking about. And then of course, I get to feel the amazingness as well. Because Will gets to go to Genesis because TNA could not get a clear decision when they sent that survey out of where to have a big event in New York or Los Angeles in 2025. TNA said, fuck it, we're going to do both cities with the big events. So New York gets Slammiversary in the summer, but my hometown of my home field of the West Coast in Los Angeles, I don't live in LA because I'm too paranoid for city life, but Los Angeles, California is getting TNA Rebellion in April. And you bet your sweet ass that I'm about to try to get those tickets and to go. I'm going to sit my ass in the front row if I can afford it.
I just saw that the other TNA one's going to be in San Antonio.
I believe
I don't know the title of it. Sorry.
Sacrifice. Yeah, I think Sacrifice is also in Texas.
March. Yeah, that's it. That's what it was. It's in San Antonio.
Which I think you said was
a lot further away from me than the other one. So
that is very true. Back to what we were talking about. I think honestly, I would not be surprised if we get the final of the 3 match feud with Josh and Macklin at Genesis. So I agree with you. I think really it comes down to Mike Santana and Joe Hendry, which either one of those would be an incredible choice.
Absolutely.
And honestly, I think we're going to see all 4 of these men in some capacity at Genesis anyways.
Probably so.
So Will's lucky. I'm so flipping
So
jealous.
excited.
I'm excited for it. I say I'm jealous, but realistically, I'm like super excited for you. And I'm like crying tears of joy behind the scenes. I'm like, oh my God, he gets to go to a wrestling. Here's the thing, like, because I'm excited when people who are either new to wrestling or have not been to a wrestling event in a very long time get to go, because there is something so magical about your first live wrestling event. Or if you've been out of the wrestling game forever and you're coming back to it, there is something magical of getting back into it. I bring this up because I got to experience Mama Laguillo's first wrestling event ever when she went with me to the AEW tapings down here where we live. And immediately she has become she loves it. She understands why me and my grandma loved it so much. And she's become a big fan of Thunder Rosa. Let me just put it at that. Like, so excited for her. And I'm excited for Will, and I'm excited for your significant other. I am super excited. I'm excited.
This will be my husband's very first ever live wrestling event. He's never been to one, never had any want to go to one. But since I wanted to go to this one, and he got us tickets for Valentine's Day, this is my Valentine's Day present. So, and so I'm taking him to his very first wrestling match ever.
So this is love.
And for those of you who don't know anything about my husband is so opposite of me. He is very more reserved, and I'm a country boy. He is a city boy. So he likes the finer things in life. So so the wrestling thing is a whole new world for him. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm so excited.
I'm also giving Will so much crap. I was just like, I cannot wait. You tell your husband that I am here to answer any questions.
Yeah, he has not asked any questions yet.
I know.
More than likely he'll be asking me questions during the show.
That is very true. I cannot wait. It's going to be so much fun. But yeah, like we said, I think this Fatal 4-Way at Final Resolution, for me personally, it's my most anticipated match, because I think that match, I want Masha and Tasha to main event, but if that Fatal 4-Way is the main event, I'm also not going to be mad either.
I agree.
Because that match is going to tear the house down. And I'm jealous Atlanta, Georgia.
I just don't think, the Nemec and AJ Francis fights all that.
It's going to main it. No, and honestly, I feel like we don't need to put it in the main. If I'm going to be real, if I were to put it, I would go AJ and Nemeth, then Masha and Tasha as semi, and then have the on it. And I love the women, but realistically, if I was Booker, I was like, you have your top 4 men of TNA in one match from 2024. So I think that Fatal 4-Way should main event, because that match, in my opinion, is going to tear the house down.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it is. It's going to absolutely. I agree.
I'm mad. I was like, even though I have some problems with how we got here, why is this Final Resolution card so much more fun than what we got for Turning Point? I'm so mad.
No, right? I know.
Turning Point was so mid, but I'm so excited for Final Resolution.
Mm-hmm. Me too, actually.
Oh my goodness. Well, that does officially bring us to the end of our Takedown Troupe review this week. We went a little bit longer talking about Final Resolution, breaking some news about all the pay-per-views coming from TNA in 2025. I'm super excited for Will and his husband to go to their wrestling in TNA Genesis. I'm hopefully getting to go to Rebellion. And me and Will are also going to figure out a way. TNA, if you watch this review, please, if you ever come to the West Coast, Southern California will always accept you. But can we also do some shows up in Northern California? Because I would love to see Andrew get to go to a TNA show. Or any show, because Northern California, I feel, always gets the short end of the stick when it comes to the California shows from any promotion. They're always usually either in Southern California or in the big cities of Northern California, like Sacramento, San Francisco. But I digress. But TNA, you are awesome. I love that you're announcing all these shows way in advance. So, we're going to be there to support you as long as you give us great content. But that is going to be it for us here at the Takedown Troupe review. From myself and Will and the rest of the BC WrestlePod family, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, stay iconic, and more importantly than anything, you always deserve to finish your story. We will see you Sunday for our WWE review, because a lot went down there too. But until then, sayonara, adios, and remember, take care of yourselves. We'll see you then.